using a different system now?
Yeah, well, so I'm trying to cope with all the issues that we're having. So I'm trying a different setup. I found a way to run, because this device is capable of recording 4 different channels simultaneously, but 2 of those channels are these microphones here, which are ambient mics, and they pick up way too much extra noise.
Okay.
But it turns out that there's an external for that mic as well. So I ran some tests on Monday morning, and I was able to get 4 independent tracks to record simultaneously on this device.
Oh,
So
that's cool.
hopefully going forward, that's going to be.
Really good.
Oh, yeah, man, thank you. It's very simple.
I just don't like oatmeal.
I do, but I have to be in the right mood for it. It's been too hot. It's been way
that's
too
true.
hot. Like today was the first time I had coffee in probably a good 2 weeks.
I mean, I'll drink coffee if it's like after hot outside. I have to.
Like I mean, I have to have caffeine, but
Yeah.
but coffee itself. This morning was the first time that I drank coffee in probably 2 weeks.
Wow.
Yeah.
What do
I
you
feel
how do
like
you
I
get your
would
caffeine,
be
you
a
crazy
bitch from
woman?
hell if I didn't.
Soda.
Me too. Okay.
You
No,
should
seriously,
drink
I
a
would
soda.
be the destroyer of worlds. Like,
Oh, I mean, I definitely have to have something because then I do become a destroyer of worlds, specifically my children's worlds.
That's your job, though.
It is my job. Oh, the hammer's coming down because they both are just done with the school year.
I'm sure.
And so they're so done with the school year, they're done with everything. They're like, I don't want to do
Yeah.
anything at all.
This is like the literal worst time of the year
It
for parents,
it
teachers,
really is, and
everybody.
it's so busy. It's so busy because everybody's got to get their program in. Everybody's got to get their thing in. And so, like, you know, Monday night was choir award ceremony, and then tomorrow night is 8th grade recognition. Thankfully, at Alex, we're in between most of those things,
Right.
where he doesn't have a whole lot of stuff going on. But it's insane. It's
Yeah.
insane. The beginning and end of May, I'm done. And so they're also very done. And so, like, Alex, I had to ask him 3 times to pick up the recycling, and he still didn't do it.
Oh,
Oh
man.
my God.
Oh my God. But no, seriously though, I mean, that's one of the things that's the most frustrating. I mean, lying to me is my number 1. And then number 2, when I ask you to do something, do it. I don't ask you to do it because I just want to keep you busy. I ask you to do it because I need this done. And
what if they do
and he
it?
didn't.
Wait, what if they lie about doing it?
Oh, then,
Yeah, I feel like that's probably a pretty common
then,
thing.
Yeah, I would
they
imagine
lie
so.
about doing it, then it would be worse than if they had just not done it. Yeah.
It's
You all right
great.
there,
Deus does that kind of thing.
Yeah.
You're like,
Didn't know
Deus,
what
did
you were
you
gonna do
put that
that
away?
mic
And
for
he's
a
like,
second.
yes.
No, stop,
No.
stop.
I'm making sure
stop.
we're good.
It's like, which is it? No.
I was watching a Facebook video about mushrooms this morning.
About
Like,
mushrooms?
Various types of
psychedelic?
mushrooms. No, just
Oh,
like the
okay.
various types of world mushrooms.
Okay.
Many of them, you know, what's that? The taxonomical, the Latin words like gluteus maximus. That you know about. Or like Homo sapiens.
I love that that's the Latin word you went to.
I'm almost
aware of
certain
that word.
that's not Latin for mushroom.
Well, many mushroom Latin taxonomical.
Like
Categorization.
something
Fungi.
fungi.
Yeah.
Many of them begin
Fungi.
with
Fungi.
phallus.
This is very true.
Many of them.
Huh.
Well, I mean,
I remember
Well, I
in
mean,
high
I
school
guess so.
It's like
biology.
phallus
was
and
a
another
riot.
thing, and phallus, and I can't think of any of the
phallus fungi.
phallus.
Phallus fungi. There we go. Fungi or fungi? Yeah, I said fungi.
Gross.
A
That's
phallus
nope.
fungi.
A
Yeah.
phallus fungi.
I
Yeah.
can order those phallus mushrooms, please.
Alright.
Yeah.
Hey, I'd like to. I fancy myself somewhat of a phallus fungi. I don't know about you. I'm gonna buy you a drink. Yeah.
I'm not a fan myself.
I'm a fun girl.
What?
I said I'm a fun girl, so no thanks.
Oh jeez, I just got that.
No thanks.
Well, obviously we can't record until right now.
Yeah. Yeah. Now we can start.
Good. Hi everybody.
Good morning.
That was gonna be good morning, and then I realized that you may not be listening to this in the morning time.
It doesn't
Hi.
matter.
Well, it's hi. Welcome to the Nerd Factor. We'll just go with that.
Glad you're here today to listen to us talk at
Whether
you.
it's morning, noon, or night.
Right.
Yes. Good afternoon. Good evening, and good night.
Doesn't matter.
Anyway, so this is April. No one really.
I'm Brandon.
I'm Lucas.
This is Cece.
This is the Nerd Factor from the Madison County Public Library in Richmond and Berea, Kentucky. Good morning, because it's morning right now when we're recording it.
You guys, I have the weakest coffee. I watched
Listen, I see that coffee and it looks like tinted water.
I watched it drip translucent, like I could see through the little light brown drip, and I was really sad the whole time.
That's really sad coffee.
That is very sad.
I thought you put
Weak
like
coffee
a
is
ton
just-
of cream in it.
Well, no, but see, I loaded, the little preloaded K-cup.
Mm-hmm.
I filled it full of coffee grounds, and it still was this very disappointing drip of coffee feathers.
I love that your face just completely changes when you go into that voice.
My
It's great.
droopy the dog.
You're
It's the
doing
only
well.
voice I can do. It's not.
I feel like those refillable K-cups are great until they're not.
Yep, they're
Yeah,
crunchy.
they are.
They're, yeah,
Like,
right.
they
are.
That's
last for
perfectly
long.
said.
Like that's what we have at the house, and
The lid
I mean,
snaps off of them, and now you got coffee grounds just everywhere. Just
mine doesn't do that. But now I've had the ones where the lid snaps off and everything, and they don't really work very well. But then I got one that's just a filter and a separate insert, and that one is great. But we also tend to fill it very, very full.
Yeah, you almost have to.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and because otherwise, then I have translucent coffee.
Mhm.
I don't see the point in brewing a single cup of coffee, and that's just like teasing yourself.
Thank you.
Well, see, I drink 1 cup of coffee a day.
Okay,
I just
that's-
drink 2.
I will drink it until it stops being made.
I 100% will
I
drink
can't
it.
do
until
that.
it stops.
I mean, I will
That's-
be in pain going, oh God, it's too hot, my stomach is killing me.
I will drink it until I can't. Until I can't drive because I have double vision. Like it's not okay.
I mean, I would do
Wow.
It's a
like,
real thing,
like
it's
backflips off the wall if I had that much caffeine
That's
in me.
yeah.
There's no way.
A chemical dependence, and I'm not apologizing.
There are certain days when I'll need 2 cups of coffee, and I know there are listeners out there who are going, yeah, 2 cups of coffee, wimp.
Yep.
And then,
There's there.
but those are the days where I'm like, I didn't sleep very well, and now I
Yeah.
need 2 cups of coffee.
I
I
had 2
didn't
cups
sleep
before I
well.
got out of bed.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Before you got out, do you have a coffee maker like in your room?
No, I actually
Like on your bedside table?
I had to go upstairs, make the coffee, and then go back and get to bed.
I always.
Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. More than once in my life, I have bought one of those really nice high-end coffee pots that you can program.
Oh, I love those.
And I use it for a week, and for 1 week of my life, I wake up to the smell of coffee, and then it's like that feeling
Yeah.
doesn't even exist.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Cece.
I used to do a French press. which
Oh, dude,
is
me too.
the
I want
best
one.
way.
Yeah.
I mean,
want one.
it's totally
Yeah.
worth it, but it takes a minute.
Grind
Yeah.
your beans.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We have a
Have you ever
grinder.
had
We've got all that stuff with
Turkish coffee.
I love
Oh.
Turkish
Yeah.
coffee.
Oh,
Yes,
give it up.
Turkish coffee. The best coffee I have ever had in my entire life was when I was in Israel.
Yeah, I bet
They would
so.
serve it as dessert, and it was Turkish
I
coffee.
bet so.
Oh my god! I mean, I was like, I would drain the cup and then like
Yeah.
chew on the ground because it was so good. It was
little-
just like, yeah, like a little bit in the lip, just kind of there,
Put a little
spit
bit,
every
yeah.
now and then.
Mhm,
Yeah.
Into your Mountain Dew can. In Israel.
Right,
Yeah.
in Israel.
In
that's
Israel.
it, yeah.
Yeah, representing the U.S.
Is
for
it
well.
really thick? The coffee
Yes,
together? Yeah.
yeah.
That's what I thought, yeah.
Mm,
Yeah.
mm,
It's
mm.
also incredibly sweet. It's so good.
Oh.
But that was the best cup of coffee I've ever had, and I would have it every night with this dessert. It was
Let's just
fantastic.
quit and go drink some coffee now.
I'm down. Let's go. Bye, guys.
Native bagels
Brandon
right there.
smashes his cup against the wall, screams, and runs out of the room.
Just don't do it inside this office.
Ah!
I'm trying to like reclaim office space.
Right
I
on.
did that yesterday. I went through and got rid of a whole bunch of packing materials that we don't need
Yeah.
Mm.
because we had 5 shelves worth of packing materials that were not being touched
It's
and
so
hadn't been in a
cathartic.
while.
Yeah.
I got
It
rid
is.
of a lot of stuff out of the
Expunging,
office
yeah.
that you used to have and Dana
Mhm.
used to have.
Mm.
And yeah, it felt so good.
Nice.
Yeah.
I could have worked until like 12 last night and just
Right.
been happy as can be.
Yeah, and yesterday morning I got the last bit of everything that was mine out of that office
Mhm.
because I had surprisingly a lot more stuff in there than I thought I did, and so so anything that's left in there was left from
Yeah.
God
Generations before us.
generations before us.
Mm.
Yeah. So
When dinosaurs roamed the library.
Yeah.
Back in the mid-
I want to see that back in the mid-90s.
Yeah, right. Right.
I want to see that movie.
Right.
Oh, speaking of, are you ready for Jurassic World 2, Brandon? I know
No.
you hated the first one.
Hey everybody, look, it's what you remember from 1993. Give me some money.
Just
The name of
let
the plot.
me enjoy this. I loved it.
I
I'm
have a
happy you
question
did.
for
Many
you,
people
Brandon.
did.
Why do you hate Chris Pratt?
You know, I
Have you never thought about that?
Have
no,
you
I
watched
don't.
Parks and Rec? He's
don't.
really, really
yes,
funny.
and he's
in
really
Parks and
funny.
Rec.
No, I don't hate
He
Chris
lives in
Pratt.
a hole. It was great.
Yeah, I really
He
don't.
breaks his leg and I hit.
I think he's great. I think he's great in Parks and Rec, especially for sure. For those of you playing the home game, I posted a meme the other day on my social media channels about Jurassic World, and it involved a derogatory statement about Chris Pratt, who's
I missed
wonderful, who
this.
didn't deserve it. He didn't deserve it.
I'm going to look at it now.
I don't like the Jurassic sequels so hard that I'm willing to sacrifice Chris Pratt for all of you. I think is-
I opened
Round up.
Instagram, first thing to pop up.
That's funny.
It's that Facebook, listening in thing
It
again.
is, dude.
I just don't, again, I just don't care.
Good,
I
good
don't
on you.
care enough to go.
Good on you.
I don't care to watch it.
Good on you. For me, it was about it was I gave my money and I went to the theater to see the movie. So obviously
That's
that
so,
happened.
like, I don't know. I gave my money.
I gave them my money. They have $11.50 of my hard-earned cash, right? For sure.
You're
I've
welcome,
seen
Chris
it in
Pratt.
3D.
I know. Chris Pratt went to In-N-Out Burger on my dime.
Maybe.
Um,
You seen those pecs? I don't think you went.
Yeah, you're right.
Well, he
Apparently
went
did
to
not.
In-N-Out
Yeah.
Burger, but didn't eat the bun.
That's
Like, he
true.
just ate the
That's what it
patty.
is. That's
No
what it is.
comment.
Yeah.
Right, for sure. Anyway, yeah, it was the fact that it so quickly became. You know what? Here's what it is. It's not so much the Jurassic sequels, like Jurassic World and the whatever the new one is called, Fallen People
Kingdom.
or something. Jeff
Fallen
Goldblum
People.
is coming back with his silver hair. It's more the fact that every new blockbuster that comes out becomes the most popular thing on planet Earth. And then it's just topped 2 months later by the next blockbuster and it's about a nostalgic
Well, that's
cash in.
life.
That is.
Yeah,
It's the
but
news.
yeah, well, you're
Something
right.
huge
right.
happens and then we forget.
Yeah.
When the next
right,
huge thing happens.
right. So for me, and my gosh, it's way too early to be on this soapbox. I'm so sorry. Let's talk about something different in 3
You're welcome.
seconds. But it's just it seems symptomatic of something so gross to me, and I struggle with it.
Speaking of the thing that everybody talks
Shut
about
up, Brandon.
forever. So this is kind of late, but our boss yesterday was in the throes of the Laurel versus Yanny thing.
Oh,
no!
yes.
So she was playing the clip,
Mhm.
and it kind of weirded me out because we were listening to the same clip. She heard Yanny, I heard Laurel.
Mhm.
Like, zero question, zero, like, there's no way that that's not
Mm.
Laurel to me.
Mm.
And then we played the clip with the, like, different pitches.
No.
Uh-huh.
So I heard Yanny at the very lowest pitch, and that was it.
Mm.
And then she heard Laurel at the mid-range pitch, and that was it.
It's an interesting physiological experiment, I think. I was talking to somebody about it. Do you guys know that in Australia, I'm sure it's not exclusively Australia, but I know for sure in Australia there are Aboriginal tribes who can sing in polyphony. Do you know what I mean by this?
No.
So they train their voices, it's part of their culture, to sing in more than one tone at the same time.
No, that's
In
cool.
Oh, so they can sing in chords.
Polyphonic. Well, so
Kind of.
it doesn't sound exactly what you'd think it would. It's not like
Mhm.
one person singing do, mi, like in this
Right.
beautiful like Gregorian harmony. It sounds more like a human voice imitating a didgeridoo.
Oh, well, that's
It's kind of gravelly,
interesting.
it's kind of got this thing going on. But that's
good,
the
Brandon.
Yeah, very.
Well-
yeah, it was actually very didgeridoo-ish.
so the reason I can do that is because when I was in college, we studied this type of singing, and an Aboriginal individual from Australia traveled to America and did some training for us, and we sang some
That's
pieces
really cool.
in what's called throat tone or polyphony, right?
Mhm.
And that's what the Laurel Yanny thing is capitalizing on, but it's doing it electronically, so it's even more intense. It's more pronounced. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So my question is, if you're listening to someone sing in that way, do different people hear the different tones?
Yes.
Oh, I'm sure they
Yes.
That is
do.
so wild
Yes,
to me.
yes.
I'm
It's
sure
called-
they do.
It's also called overtone singing. Yeah, I could talk
Okay,
about
that I've heard of.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Right. Some people can hear the overtone sequence, and some people can't, and some people can hear it at different times or different parts of the song or depending on what they do with their voice. And it's this beautiful little thing. You hear like these little angelic little whistle things happening. Yeah.
Interesting. I'd like to hear that.
There's science about it that I should talk about some other time. But yeah, it's cool.
Science.
That is really cool.
Yeah.
Well, as far as the Laurel Yanny thing goes, like Katie played it for me. My first introduction to it, she comes over and she plays it for me, and she goes, "What do you hear?" And I go, "Yanny." She goes, "It's Laurel." I did not hear Laurel at all until like the next day. She played another clip in the car, and I heard Laurel. And then I went home, and so I was like, okay, oh, what is this? And so I had her play the same clip that I had originally listened to, and I heard Laurel again. And so then I went home and played it again on my phone and heard Yanny again. And it was like within 10 minutes I heard both Laurel and Yanny. And it was very interesting, and I think it had to do with because she was playing it on her phone and I was playing it on mine. But I was wondering specifically how, if it's like has to do with like the physiology of our ears and things like that.
That's what I want to know too.
Because I also have very, very significant hearing loss in my left ear. Really, really bad ear infection, ruptured the eardrum, and I just left it because it has prevented me from having ear infections, which is very nice. And so, but also it means that I have a lot of trouble hearing lower tones. And so I was wondering if that's why I heard Yanny versus Laurel. But I don't know.
So the Laurel Yanny thing, if you can think of it as an auditory spectrum, right? Almost like, the visual spectrum, right? Red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, and violet. That's our visible spectrum that we can pick up we can see with our eyes.
Yeah.
The Laurel Yanny thing is capitalizing on an auditory spectrum, just like you say, April. There's a high tone and a low tone. I'm not being boastful, because why would I? It's a stupid thing to brag about, but I was able to hear both. Because,
simultaneously?
No, depending on what I wanted to focus on or what I wanted to hear, because I've gone through training, right? And I read an article about musicians and people, especially these Aboriginal people who have studied this way. You can kind of tune into the frequency of what you want to hear. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
See, I tried and I couldn't.
Yeah.
No matter how hard I tried, I could not hear the other one.
That's cool. That's the reason it's become a phenomenon, I think, for so many people. It's also the dress was gold. You dumb people who thought it was blue are dumb. Big dumb dummies.
Okay.
Whoa.
So we play that clip and I hear blue and black.
I'm obviously kidding. I love all of you people.
Oh, there was a meme that I saw about that, and it was Laurel wants her blue and black dress back. Yanny
I saw
out.
that. Yeah.
It was funny.
So what should people here talk about today?
I'm going to talk about the summer food program
Do it.
that we do here at the library. We're getting ready for our 7th summer of doing it. And
Golly, 7 summers.
It's 7 summers, unless I did my math wrong, but I'm pretty sure it's our 7th summer of doing it.
Wow.
And I am so excited because the program has grown, not just what we do here at the library, but in Richmond we solely go through the county school system, and I know in Berea we've got Grow Appalachia and Berea College that contribute as well.
Yeah.
And so we're able to serve meals to people 7 days a week. And it's crazy. I mean, I went to the training the other night, and they told us what their goal was for this year for feeding kids, and this was just through the county school system. 50,000 lunches. They want to serve. They want to serve 50,000. But you know what? What's insane is that they can do it.
Yeah.
I mean,
They can
the
do
Berea
it.
Kids Eat program serves 15,000 per summer.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
100%. 15,000 total.
I'm so glad that we have those programs.
I know.
It's wonderful. Well, and I didn't realize just because, the first year that I did it, it was a very restrictive program, and it was, had to be at this particular location, which you still have to do, and there are still specific guidelines, but it was very restrictive. It was like you don't serve a meal at 11 or at 1:01. You make sure you open your doors. They have to eat everything in front of you.
Is it a federal guideline? I can't remember.
It was a federal
think
grant.
it was,
It was
yeah.
a federal grant given to the states to give out to
Got it.
the food service
Got it.
Right.
locations.
And now it has gotten far more relaxed because the whole idea is they want to feed kids.
Sure.
They want to feed kids.
Sure.
That's not, you know, we're going to restrict it this way and we're going to restrict it this way. It's, hey, yes, meet these guidelines, but let's feed kids. That's the whole point.
Right.
Well, and they make those rules for a reason.
Well, no, I get,
Yeah. I mean, adults.
there are people who will abuse it, just like anything else. There are people who will abuse the program. But like we were really excited because Ruthie and I realized the other night at the training that at the Richmond location we can have lunch delivered 7 days a week, and it's fantastic.
Yeah.
Because we didn't even realize that the weekends were an option.
Yeah.
We knew they did dinners, but now we can have lunch delivered to the library 7 days a week, and it's fantastic. And then on the weekends, that means also that the library is saving money, that we don't have to pay out for food for the weekends, because now we're able to get it for kids over the weekend, but then we're still able to serve adults on Saturday and Sunday, and that's just a fraction of the cost now. I am just over the moon with this program. I love it.
You used to, for quite a few years there, I think, right? You were the kind of the primary point person for that?
I still am.
Oh, you still are? Oh, I'm sorry.
This is my 7th summer doing it.
Yeah. Nice. So in that light, can I ask a couple brass tacks type questions?
Yeah.
The food program proper only serves children 18 and under. Is that correct? That's correct, right?
That is correct.
Okay.
That is correct.
However, and this is actually, so I don't, sometimes like I'm in the library and they're like, Brandon, go eat if you want to. There's lunch for everybody. And I'm like, oh, I'm over 18. And they're like, doesn't matter. How does that work?
Okay.
How can we feed adults also?
So, on the weekends we provide, excuse me. On the weekends we provide free lunch. And Sunday is more like a snack, but we provide a free lunch for adults on the weekends and children. Excuse me, sorry, I'm really dealing with some phlegm this morning.
It's like I'm...
We're gonna grow Cece out again here in a second.
Right.
But then we can serve adult lunches to during the week, but there's a charge for it, and I believe it's $2.
I got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, and then if the food's gonna go bad, like sometimes they'll bring like chicken nuggets. You can't serve those the next day. If it's a hot thing, because you have to be able to keep it at a certain temperature.
Sure.
And so you can't serve those. So if you have leftovers that were like somebody didn't get their chicken nuggets or something like that at the end of the program, you know, the point is to feed people.
Sure.
Right.
Yeah.
So there might be something like that, but you know, you also don't abuse the program.
Sure.
Don't. I mean, I'm not saying that we put with it or anything like that,
Right.
but you know, don't order 30 extra lunches so that you can have, you know, feed your staff at the end of the program at the end of the day.
Right.
So, but that's how we're able to do it. And then in Berea, I mean, if you're down here, it may be something where with Grow Appalachia they have something, or Berea College they have other stuff. I know the stuff that we get in Richmond through the county school system, it's 18 and under only.
That's good. That's the way it is with Berea Kids Eat for
Okay,
sure.
good.
I was gonna. And my topic is actually similar. So here in a minute I'll share more on that.
Well, why don't we just combine the two, and you talk about your point, and I'll talk about mine, and
Well, if
we'll
it's
just have a conversation.
Let's do it. Let's converse.
That's what we do.
Let's conversate.
That word.
All
right, Brandon, conversate.
It's not a word.
So.
Contrary to popular belief.
It's amazing. If you say it enough, it becomes a word.
Conversate.
Well,
This
that's
is
kind of how it works, I
true.
guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
is
Right.
true.
So stop saying that.
So yeah, I was going to share just a little bit about the program and then a kind of a funny little story. So the Berea Kids Eat program, formerly known as the Berea Summer Food Service Program, is the kind of the outreachy facet or component of what April's talking about.
Mhm.
And I've been involved with it for the past 4 years, and it is getting bigger and bigger and bigger. We've gone from now let's see, I'm pretty sure these numbers are right. I'm 100% sure of current numbers for this year. I believe we've gone from 10 or 11 sites and less than 10,000 lunches served to this year we have 16 sites. And this is
Wow.
Berea only,
Jeez.
right? 16 sites, and last summer we served 15,000 plus. And my role is the coolest. Like, I have you guys, I understand this might sound very gloaty. Gloaty.
Gloaty.
Brandon is gloaty.
Well, now I can't decide what you're going
I
to
know,
do.
right?
It's going to be Brandon conversates or is gloaty.
I'm conversating about being gloaty. I have the coolest job because what I get to do is bring programs and fun to these sites, right? So I'm bringing like the planetarium, Hummel Planetarium from EKU. They're coming, they're gonna do science and astronomy stuff. And the Urban Ninja Project is partnering with us this summer, and I am elated. I know they're gonna come and do whatever it is that they do with kids and turn them into like urban ninjas or health, wellness, fitness stuff, right? And more magic shows and science stuff and all kinds of arts and crafts. So it's just awesome. And that's really, and it's free for every human individual with a pulse under the age of 18, right?
Well, 18 and under.
Sorry, excuse me, that's correct. 18 and under, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know what else to say. It's like this win-win-win, beautiful. The staff is awesome. We're doing staff training a lot this week. One cool thing we're doing is we're going to be giving away, but we're adding a literacy component this year. I don't know if you know this. I told Ruthie and Beth this, and they seem to be pretty excited about it. We're giving away books. We're having a metric ton of books donated.
At the lunch program?
At the lunch program,
Sweet.
in Berea at our 16 sites.
So every
Did not
time
know.
somebody comes to the lunch program, they get a
Every
free book?
single solitary time that somebody comes to the lunch
That's-
program, they have the
That's
option
awesome.
to take with them a free book.
Wow.
Every single solitary, we have thousands of books that we're sourcing. Like this week, I have the library van checked out this week because I'm transporting books back and forth from various
Sweet.
locations. Yeah.
That's
So
fantastic.
I can't say enough good about it. Like I'm sincerely like really stoked on it. So.
Yeah. One of the things that I love the most about it is that, and this is it's pretty much a tie between doing this podcast and the lunch program, as far as which is my favorite
Not
that
me,
I get to
hate you
do.
What'd you say?
I said not me, I hate you guys.
But it's because, you know,
Likewise.
just like the rest of the library, you know, the moment you walk in the door, the playing field is completely level for everybody. Everyone of all ages, all stages of life, race, religion, creed,
Ability,
sexuality, whatever.
doesn't matter.
Everybody has
Right.
the same access to everything.
That's right.
And the same thing goes with the summer food program. I'm sounding like a commercial, but I really just love this program. You know, we don't ask somebody, how much money do your parents make
Right.
to be able to get the lunch, or, you know, or show your ID. I don't think you're 18
Right.
Yeah.
or under 18. You know, it's you're hungry. Here's a lunch.
Right.
Unless you have a big gray beard and then I have
Yeah,
to
then
say,
it might be,
I'm
you know, it might be really
sorry,
obvious.
But if you have a grandchild, they can come.
Yeah, you know, if it's pretty obvious, you're an adult trying to get a lunch. Be
Rip
like,
Van
well,
Winkle, I'm sorry, I can't feed you.
Yeah, no.
Everybody else, you're good.
Well,
But it's
and I
great.
will say too, since we've been doing the summer lunch program, our summer usage has gone up.
Mhm.
And
Oh, I'm
summer's
sure
our
so.
single busiest time anyway.
Right.
But I mean, it increases awareness of what we're doing, and
Mhm.
Yeah.
so the programs that we have, and
Yeah.
you know, materials that we check out. I mean, there's a lot of things. The youth services staff has created a lot of their programs around the lunch
Right.
Yeah,
program,
they
Right.
have.
because
Right.
you already have, you know, a captive audience of 50 people in there.
Right.
Yeah.
For sure.
I mean, there are plenty of days it's even more than that.
Right.
I know that there are some days. There have been days in the past where we've served like 120 lunches
Mm-hmm.
Heck yeah.
one day,
That's
and it's
awesome.
usually they're movie days.
Right, sure.
Especially if movie and pizza day
Mm, yeah.
coincide.
Mhm.
Oh man,
Which they
120
should.
lunches easy.
I mean,
As well, they should.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Movie fuel.
yeah.
But it's really great because from the first year that we did it to the second year, the numbers doubled,
Mhm.
and then they doubled again,
Right.
and then they doubled one more time,
How about that?
and then and that was about where they kind of topped out. So I think in Richmond last year we served 6,300, over 6,300, and that was just at the Richmond location. That's not including the Berea numbers.
Right.
That's not including outreach.
Sure.
That's just at that one location.
That's so awesome.
6,300 lunches.
Mhm.
That's so awesome.
And so it's fantastic.
What was the time period for that 6,300?
That's 2 months.
2 months?
2 months.
Wow, 100 a day. Oh no, I'm being stupid.
I can't do that. I would literally have to get out
60
like.
days, 100
Yeah.
a day.
I mean, there were
every single
days that
day.
we would
I mean,
have
weren't
as
doing
few as
weekends last
25.
week, were we?
No, we were. We were
Oh,
doing
okay,
weekends
okay.
as well.
Mhm.
Still, it's very
Yeah.
impressive.
Yeah, it
That's-
really
that's
is.
Crazy, 100 a day.
Yeah.
Well, and so we just get the school lunches for 2 months. So
Right.
I think it's from like June 1st to July 31st, right?
This year they are doing it from the day after school lets out. So they are
Awesome.
doing it from May 31st
Okay, good.
or May 30th all the way through August 13th.
Oh,
Good.
wow.
Yeah.
Is that the first year they've done that? Because I know
I
we've
think it
served
is.
on our own.
I think it is, or they may have done it last year and we
Yeah.
just weren't aware that it was an
Gotcha.
option.
That's cool.
But this year, because, you know, it was like last year, it seemed like they were serving from June 1st through July 31st, and then the rest of the days we contributed. We kicked in the rest.
Well, I think that the county schools, all of them have free lunch now, right? Like free breakfast and lunch.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
I wonder if that's part of it.
That may very
They were
well be
able
part
to
of it, yeah.
Expand.
I have to tell you, as a parent, it is such a
I
relief
bet
to just
so.
be going,
Yeah.
all right,
Yeah.
Right.
School lunch is for you.
school
Right.
lunch and breakfast
Yeah.
for you,
Right.
because,
Right.
I mean, then they want them to eat
Sure.
the breakfast
Well,
and the
yeah.
lunch.
And they're getting better over time too, isn't that true?
They are,
Like,
they
A
are.
little bit higher quality,
Yeah.
you know, okay.
I don't know. Lunch
Well,
and pizzas.
There were some
Yeah.
standards
More.
passed under the
That's my
Obama
second.
administration. Michelle Obama did her whole
Mhm.
That's
make
right.
lunches better, and then a lot of those things have just recently, in the last couple of weeks, been officially repealed.
Yeah.
But it doesn't look like there's any desire to backslide on it.
Yeah.
Nice.
So,
Yeah.
I hope not.
Yeah, so there, I mean, there are a lot of things, there are a lot of things that have gotten a lot better about them. There's still a ways to go, of
Mhm.
course. You know, I mean, anytime you're dealing with processed, prepackaged food and things, there's still
Sure,
gonna
sure,
be
sure.
some thing that's
schoolroom
left to be
pizza is
desired.
better than hunger.
That it absolutely,
True. True.
absolutely.
I frankly think it's better than anything.
Yeah, it's good.
Or
Yeah,
little
I mean, it's
ranch
actually
dressing on that
weirdly
square.
good.
It is weirdly good. I love it. You can go to Save-A-Lot and you can buy it frozen if you
Give me
want
some
some.
milk by
It's
You
the
called
can.
school
bitter.
pizza too.
Huh?
It's actually called school pizza. Isn't
What?
Is it?
At Save-A-Lot, yeah.
I don't know.
That's so
I've
funny.
actually
It's like
never
a
bought it,
particular-
but I've seen it and was like, that's school pizza.
Yeah, it's.
That's
it's
a
actually-
billion-dollar idea.
It really
Whoever-
is.
really is.
Whoever decided to make a pizza taste like school pizza and name it school pizza
I
is the
imagine-
richest man.
And
or
look
woman
like, you know, because it's all in rectangles.
What?
Yeah, right.
Like just,
Cisco.
sure.
Okay, so I'm thinking of the singer
Oh yeah.
Nope.
with the silver hair.
He has dumps like a truck.
Yeah. Right.
And that's all of that song that we can
Truck,
sing.
truck.
Yeah, sorry, 2 more trucks and then that's it.
Baby! And that's all you can sing.
What?
Yeah.
So this whole topic is about, I think at the end of the day, it's about food insecurity, right?
Yeah,
In our
it
community
is.
and really making sure, or doing what we can do, doing our part to serve our community in this way, to help eliminate food insecurity. And as part of my training with Grow Appalachia, and again, Grow Appalachia is the staff in the organization that's running the Berea Kids Eat program. We had a long conversation yesterday about food insecurity, and we told our food stories. Do you guys know what a food story is?
Not
No.
really, but
I
I want to
didn't
hear
know.
one.
I have a food story. I would like to share my food story with you guys, because I did just yesterday with staff, and then I wanted to see if y'all wanted to as well, if you felt moved to. A food story really is just that. It's like, you know, tell the tale of food in your life and how you relate to it. And let me tell you, some really rich, like people were moved to tears
I'm
yesterday.
sure.
Talking
Yeah.
about, I grew up in a single parent household, and I remember my mom coming home from serving tables and crying and telling me, you have to do better for yourself, whatever you have to do, don't serve tables, you know. But still she keeps, this was a staff person, still keeps her mom's old apron that smells
Man.
like food service
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
to remind her of
Yeah.
like where she came from. So
Right.
these stories get really intense and emotional because
Right.
it's so ingrained in our lives, right? Whatever our food story is. So here's my food story. It's pretty brief.
Okay.
I mean, I could talk all about food. I grew up in very lower middle class. I wouldn't necessarily say poverty, but pretty doggone close. And when my mom went back to school, I remember dinners prepared and served by my dad included chopped up raw hot dogs,
Yay.
cold Franco-American SpaghettiOs in a bowl, right? Not even heated up. Cold, not even heated up. Sliced pickle spears, and if we were really lucky, a couple rolled up slices of pasteurized cheese food products. You know what I'm talking about? So I wasn't taught good food choices at all. I had to it was way later in life, and a host of problems. Weight gain and weight issues has been the, I'm going to say, the issue of my life, the bugaboo of my life. After every other kind of issue that I have is gone, food and my unhealthy relationship to food remains.
Mhm.
And that came from my childhood. Not because anybody was a bad person, but because we did what we could do, and my parents didn't really know any better. My dad owned a hot dog restaurant for 10 years. I'm a hot dog legacy. Did you guys know that?
I did. You talked about it in
Yeah.
season 1.
Okay. Oh, yeah. Oh, so then maybe I
Yeah.
talked about this in season 1. This is part
Well,
of my
you talked
food
about
story.
part of it, but yeah, please.
To this day, when people are boiling hot dogs on the stove, did I mention this? You know the smell of the hot dog water
Yeah.
that's
Yes.
in the pot? It's kind of like this
Yes.
sweet, sickening, sweet, salty smell.
Right.
That's what my dad smells like. To this day.
He
Well,
still
To me.
smells like that?
Well, whether
Like,
he does
is
or
this
doesn't.
permeated him, or is that just the smell that you associate
Well,
with him?
that's the smell I associate with him, and also when I hug him, I swear to God, I smell hot dog water. I promise that's true. So that's
That's
my
like smacking a rug and like just the cloud of
Right.
dust comes up from
Right.
it. You hug your dad and the cloud of hot
Yeah.
dog water comes up.
right. So that's my food story. I've had
Hot
to
dog water
grow.
mist.
Hot dog water mist.
I saw this thing online. Someone was talking about whenever they make hot dogs, they'll take the leftover hot dog water and freeze it into ice cubes and use those for drinks of people they don't like.
Yep. Let's go.
Oh, I like that. That is evil, and I love
That
it.
is evil.
I don't use ice anymore in my drinks.
Just in case you got some enemies out there.
I'm sure I do.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's really, really interesting. I'm sure it was, I don't know, deep as can be to listen to everybody's
It
story.
got really. I mean, there were people.
Yeah.
The person who was facilitating said who in their lives have felt, even if just for a few weeks or an extended period of time, like you were in fact food insecure. I'm gonna say 95%.
I mean, what does
of
that
room.
mean though? Like food insecure, as in
You don't know if your next meal is going to happen.
You're
Yeah,
not,
you don't know when it's
you don't
when
know
it's
when
going
or,
to happen.
or how you're going to be able to make it happen.
Gotcha.
And a lot of it came
Yeah.
from childhood, but I mean, in my adult life, you guys, I've been very close to food insecurity.
Yeah,
for
I
sure.
had a brief period of time where there were some poor financial decisions made,
That's right.
and there for a few days there I was going, okay, so we need groceries, and where is it gonna come from?
Yeah, man. Yeah.
So fortunately, I had people in my life that stepped in and were
Sure.
able to make sure that we
Yeah.
had groceries.
Some
but,
of us
yeah.
have support systems, some of us don't.
Yeah.
You know, and so it's a great program, I think.
I can
Yeah.
feed 6 people for a week on $20.
For real?
Yeah.
How?
All right.
You don't do it very often, but I mean, rice and beans. Quite
Oh
often.
yeah.
Right.
And then peanut butter and
Right.
tortilla wraps.
Yeah.
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 Okay.
Box of Cheerios and a gallon of milk.
There you go.
$18.50.
How
You can
about
get
that?
those. Yeah.
How about
Wow.
that? All right.
It's not extravagant, but it'll keep you alive.
Yeah.
$20.
Okay.
I'm feeling incredibly spoiled in my life right now. Because,
Mm.
I mean, when I grew up, both of my parents really loved to cook,
Yeah.
and my dad.
You've alluded to your dad before.
Yeah,
I want
my
him to cook
dad's
for
a
me.
really good
Yeah, no
cook.
kidding.
Actually.
But he learned because he would go hang out with his grandparents, and his grandmothers taught him, hey, here's how we fry chicken, and here's how we make this, and here's how we make that. So I mean, he's just a really good cook, and
Yeah.
they enjoy it. So
Mhm.
Yeah.
I mean, we hardly ever went out to eat when I was a kid.
Yeah.
We didn't go eat fast food. We just didn't.
Mm-hmm.
We just didn't.
No.
You know, and I mean, my brother and I don't know. I mean, we were extremely active as kids, so food was more of a afterthought. Like it wasn't like we didn't just sit there and like snack all day.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
But I mean, he and I both, you know, when you become an adult, you become a little less active as you are as a kid. So
Yeah.
he and I both have had weight, issues because we still love to eat all the food that we loved to eat as a kid.
I know those feels.
Yeah.
But I mean, even as an adult, and I guess it does boil down to the kind of support system that you have.
It really does.
Because
yeah.
I know that if I had, $0 in my account, I could be like, Mom and Dad, can you,
Sure.
can I come eat at your house?
Right,
you know?
right.
Yeah.
And if
For sure.
they didn't have any money, they have, parents around that would
Mm.
feed them. And
Yeah.
if their parents didn't have any money, they could go,
Mm.
So yeah, I think it boils down to a support system, A, and B, everybody farmed in my family.
Right. Yeah.
Well,
Wow.
not in my family
That's a game changer.
all throughout, but like my great-grandparents on
Mhm.
both sides farmed. And I feel like that there's an element of, you could grow your own stuff and
Yeah.
support yourself if you needed to.
Sure.
Which, I mean, and that also came from a place of food insecurity as well.
Right.
You know, you can things and put things up because you don't know,
Oh,
you know,
Well, I mean, that's the whole point behind agriculture,
right.
is to prevent
Right.
insecurity. in
Well,
food.
that's
Right.
fair point, okay.
Yeah.
We're gonna boil it down to its
But
simplest.
but
Yeah,
being
that's a
able
fair
to
point.
grow and can and preserve your own food, I mean, like, that's something I hold in very high regard.
Sure.
And
Yeah.
that is
Sure.
a skill that I've made sure I've adopted
Mhm.
and passing it on to my kids
Sure.
as well.
Yeah.
I mean, I tried, so 6 or 7 years ago, I tried running a farm. I tried to be a farmer. I was coming out of my previous job, working for the Charleston newspaper company in Charleston, West Virginia. I was doing web development for them. And literally living in a concrete jungle, you know, I can't stand that kind of lifestyle. But I didn't know until I had left. So I decided, okay, I'm gonna be a farmer. We're gonna farm, so we went out into Waco, put all sorts of stuff in the ground. It's way too much work. I can't be a farmer. It's not practical for me. But we had an interesting return. We had a lot of stuff come up that we had no use for. We had like 50 pumpkins.
Yeah.
200 pounds of jalapeno.
All that kind of stuff grows really well here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of
Right.
squash.
Yeah.
But we had a lot of beans as well. We grew Kentucky pole beans just as far as you could see. And it's my first time being in charge of, you know, this process. So, you know, I put my stakes in the ground and I ran my strings and I strung them all up, and the weight of these beans just collapsed.
Yes.
So
yeah.
all my beans were just laying there on the ground. And it's like, well, you know, whatever. You know, I'm moving on. So I kind of let them just lay there in the mud until the fall, and then, you know, we drug the vines out of the garden and shook them out on the porch, and all these dried beans fell out and everything. And I was like, okay, this will do. We'll take the dried beans. So we boxed up, you know, 10, 15 pounds of dried beans, and then just kind of sat on them for a while. And then we ran into a situation where we were glad that we had this food store, so we cracked into these. They're Kentucky pole beans. They're not pinto beans. They're not traditional soup beans.
They're yummy.
But we did them up like soup beans, and they are very, very different. It is.
I
it
don't
was
think
made-
I've ever
it made
had
me-
them.
Yeah, me neither, I don't think. Yeah.
Well, my grandmother always did soup beans. She always had soup beans on. Like, that was part of her life. There's always beans on. So there's this aroma that was my grandmother's
Now I
aroma,
want some
and
soup
that
beans.
is the
Yeah, dude.
smell of Kentucky pole
I have an
beans.
iffy
Not
relationship.
like soup beans.
Okay.
That is the
Really?
smell of my grandmother.
Yeah.
So that is one of the most important meals. I always make sure to have Kentucky pole beans so that I can produce that smell.
Listen, if you want to make me some soup beans, that's
Yeah,
fine.
man, any day.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I mean,
And some
I have an
cornbread.
iffy relationship
Onions.
with soup beans
yeah.
dating back
Mustard.
to when I was pregnant with my son.
Mm.
My mother had made soup beans, and they were pinto beans, and she had made, no, it wasn't pinto beans. I don't remember what it was. I don't know. But she had overcooked them, and so it had turned into mush.
So you had mush.
Oh,
So
Soup,
I
bean-
walk into the
bean mush.
kitchen, I'm pregnant with my son. My stomach did not like me throughout the entire
Oh,
pregnancy.
no.
Morning sickness was a joke. It was 24/7.
oh no.
And I walked in, took a look at that, walked into the bathroom, proceeded to get sick, and then washed my hands. And she had peach soap,
Oh,
which then triggered me again.
Oh no.
That triggered me right now.
For 10 years, I could not eat soup beans.
Really?
For 10 years. And even to this day, I still have a bit of a tenuous relationship with them. I'm just like, I like them when I'm in the right mood for
You
them,
should
or if
have
they're really, really
prepared the
good.
right way.
Yeah, I mean, and so, but seriously, it was 10 years before I could eat soup beans.
I have a similar story with.
And peach soap to this day, anything that's peach scented, ugh.
my parents have
Ugh.
peaches coming in on their tree for the first time this
Real
year.
peaches are a
Real
different
peaches.
thing, but peach scented things, well,
Yeah.
oh, I can't.
I
I
have a
can't.
similar story with cinnamon schnapps,
When
except it
you're
doesn't,
pregnant.
doesn't involve me being pregnant,
Yeah,
and more so involves me being a stupid college kid.
yeah.
Yeah, I think we all have those
Just
stories.
don't drink schnapps as a rule.
That's a really good.
Yeah.
That is-
thank you.
yeah, that is a
Where were
pretty good
you
point.
15 years ago?
That's a pretty good point. Although I will
Drinking
say,
schnapps.
At Eric Allen's house party in Moorhead, Kentucky. Where
I
were
will
you?
say, I make butterbeer with butterscotch schnapps
Ooh, tongue twister though.
and cream soda,
Yep,
and it's amazing.
I'll take it.
It is
That's
amazing. It's
also
I'll
a
allow
shot
so,
I can't name on the podcast.
Oh, that's a shot? Is cream
Yeah.
soda with that?
Well, there's.
Yeah.
Some other things
That's
in it
delicious.
too.
for
Yeah.
sure. Mhm.
So when you were talking, Lucas, about trying to farm,
Yes.
are you all Wendell Berry fans at all?
Probably not. Is that an artist of some kind?
So he is a Kentucky author.
Mhm.
You guys should look him up. He does a lot of really good stuff. So someone put out a film about him a couple years ago, and I forget what it's called, I'll look up in a minute. But the whole film is about how nearly impossible it is for an individual to farm.
Mm.
Farm in a way that would support themselves and make
Make
a living
an income.
Yeah.
out of it. And the main thing is because modern machines have taken over.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, these bigger businesses can buy all these machines and just harvest and,
Mhm.
Yeah.
keep the cycle going exponentially faster and more efficient than a human can.
More
So the
favoritism.
humans have to buy these machines as well, and they go into just crippling debt
Yeah.
It
trying
depends
to
on
get
what
these
your goal
machines.
is, exactly. And
That's
if you
true.
go into farming for capitalistic reasons, you've gotta be a conglomerate, or you're not going to succeed.
I mean,
But
yeah.
if you're farming to produce your own produce, to know
Right.
where it came from, to feed yourself, and it is a full-time job, even if you're
It
not
really
getting paid
truly
for
is,
it.
yeah.
Right.
But you can totally produce as an individual enough for your family to subside on. That is very doable. And if you take that cost and weigh it against the cost of food purchase throughout the year, it's less than you would spend on food. And we our monthly food budget is under $600 for a family of 6, and which a lot of people find ridiculous that we're able to feed everyone on such a small stipend.
Yeah.
But it's because of the kinds of things that we purchase.
Right.
We don't purchase frozen dinners or
Right.
cases of soda. We just get what we need. We get flour and we make our own breads, and we get dried beans and rice and not rices.
Whoa.
Whoa!
What are you
More
gonna do
than
with that?
one kind of rice.
What's
Are we looking to reduce our number of people that we're feeding?
Well,
Jeez.
You haven't seen Breaking Bad, have you?
I have, and I still don't know what rice it is.
It's not good. Look it
Breaking,
up.
it's the stuff that he puts in the
Yeah.
cigarette to kill
It's a
that's
poison.
it's
Yeah.
the recurring poison all throughout Breaking
Recurring
Bad.
poison.
Whenever
Yeah.
they need to poison
Yeah.
somebody, they get
Yeah.
out that it's called rice.
Yeah,
but
it's a
so
poison.
that's not what
Got
I
it.
purchased. Multiple kinds of rice. Rices.
Freudian slip.
Yeah, I know.
Not Freudian,
I've got 4 kids now.
some other kind of stuff.
But yeah,
So that's how you afford it.
they eat less and less every time.
Oh, jeez. Well, that escalated quickly.
Oh well.
But anyway, it is very, it is a lot of work, but it
Yeah.
is very possible to just supplement. In our yard right now, we have a dozen tomato plants, a dozen cucumbers, we've got some potatoes, beans, peas, and this is not by any means going to feed us, but it's going to cut a few $100s
Sure.
out of
No
our
doubt.
budget
Right.
for the summer. And then the kids are also getting to grow a garden.
That's
Yeah.
right.
They're
Yeah.
watching
awesome.
snow peas come in and picking strawberries before they're ripe, and they're getting to do this. So whenever they enter the world, or if there's a workforce to be entered at that point, they will have this under their belt, and they'll be able to move forward with, if nothing else, the ability to produce food.
Yeah.
I feel like that's just such a dying thing.
It very much
It's
is.
You know?
scary. Yeah.
I mean, it is scary.
You mean home
but,
gardens?
Yeah, I mean, I just think that, I try to eat pretty well. I mean, I care about what I eat, and I want to make sure the stuff I eat is local and things like that.
Sure. Yeah.
But do I want to take the time to grow it myself? No, I
Right.
don't, because I just don't have the time. I mean,
Right.
I don't have any idea
That's where I
I
am.
can carve it out.
Yeah,
you
that
know?
that's where I am. I mean, I've tried. I've tried different techniques. And the first year that we lived in our house, we had a really good garden. We had a really good squash and zucchini garden. And that was that was like the only thing that
Yeah.
grew. I think we got a handful of green beans off of one plant. And we got enough squash and zucchini though to feed the entire neighborhood. And so we had that, but it's very difficult for people who are working full-time jobs, and I know that you managed to do it, Lucas, but it's difficult. I mean, we just don't have time, and it's something we need to make time for.
I mean, I guess if I
But
didn't
it's
go to the gym or drink, I
difficult.
could probably.
Well, that's the beauty about gardening. I mean, if you're doing it right, it's kind of like being at the gym, and you can do it with a drink.
Well,
in your
true.
hand.
That is, that's a fair point.
Right, I could drink beer while I'm gardening.
Yeah.
There you
I
go.
can't drink beer at the gym.
No.
So
Yeah. but you could. You drink. In
You
fact,
guys are-
actually, be pretty refreshing.
Really
Yeah.
turning me on to gardening.
You get a nice
Yeah.
backyard
Oh, I
garden,
definitely
set
drink
it
beer
next
when
to
I'm
your
out.
patio.
Yeah.
Dude,
Well, what's
okay.
funny is I've tried. The past several years, I've tried over the summer to have a garden and to grow things, and it did not go well. But this year, like I'm not actively doing any shows or anything like that. I'm taking a bit of time to do some other things, and I could actually have a garden. What am I growing? Marigolds.
What you gonna say?
Marigolds.
Marigolds. Marigolds, everyone.
Under heat lamps in your basement. Marigolds.
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 Big leafy ones.
I'm growing marigolds.
They're lovely.
Anyway.
Good for Mother's Day.
Marigolds are a great plant to have in your garden, though.
Mm-hmm.
Bugs do not like marigolds.
Oh.
That's
So
why
if you
I
grow
planted
marigolds
8 pots of
alongside of your
marigolds.
or alongside of your cucumbers, because cucumber beetles are
Yeah.
a real big problem, and boreworms. They do not like marigolds. So
That's a dank garden you got in there going on, April. That's real nice.
yeah,
8 pots of
You
marigolds.
need to make sure that nobody comes and takes one of your marigolds.
I mean,
I know.
for sure, though.
I
They-
know,
it's
they-
a
they-
Hot commodity.
They'd be choppers out there looking for marigold farms. Pretty sure. Just look.
Oh, it's all personal use.
Okay. Okay.
It doesn't matter.
That's fine. No, it does not matter. It does not matter. They don't care about your glaucoma.
For marigolds are really good for that.
I got my glaucoma.
Anxiety,
we have
Anxiety.
helicopters come flying over out at Tater Knob, out at the farm.
I'm sure.
They fly over all the time through
Yeah.
the summer. I mean, sometimes.
Oh, I
they'll-
bet. That
Sometimes
makes perfect
they've
sense.
circled while I've been out there tending to squash.
It's like, it's squash. Look at the leaves,
Yeah.
guys.
What's he doing? What's he doing down there?
Get me some of them tomatoes.
I was like, oh man, look at that squash. Man, he missed one. There's a one underneath that leaf. It's it's like the size of my arm now.
Yeah, it's all about perspective.
Yeah, it is. Good Lord.
Well, friends, had a good time with y'all today.
Oh man, this is been a
Marigolds.
very
Yeah.
food. You know what? You were talking about food stories and how food affects our lives. We've talked about food on this podcast so much.
Mhm.
Food affects all of our lives.
Right.
It's very,
It really
very,
is.
Yeah.
very
Sure.
influential in our lives. I mean, obviously,
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
influential in the fact that you need it to survive.
Right.
But every
also-
single person needs
Yeah.
it.
Yes.
There's no discriminating when it comes to eating.
And that's why it
Right,
causes
right.
a lot of issues.
Right.
It
of
is,
course.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, the whole bathtub full of food
Mhm.
conversation. Hey, Lucas,
Oh no.
Yeah. I'm
if you were to
curious.
have a bathtub full of your favorite food, what would it be? Or not necessarily your favorite food, but what food would you eat an entire bathtub full of?
Do I have to be in the bathtub?
Oh, that's
Oh,
part
that's
of
a
the-
good question.
that's
I
part of
believe
the
so.
agreement. No, dude, you
I
like
always
rub it all
imagined-
over
Yeah,
yourself.
like you're in there with it.
Yeah, you're
If
just
I'm in the
doing
bathtub with it,
I mean, you
Do
can
I like-
you can be in a bathtub with any food if you try hard
well,
enough.
Yeah.
I can't.
something. Yeah.
It's like everything is edible.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of commitment.
Willpower. Yeah, you can eat anything. Bathtub. Geez. I don't know. I don't have a favorite food. I like whatever is prepared and put in front of me.
You said this before.
Yeah. Did we have this conversation
No,
already?
actually, I think honestly that I'm just duplicating a response we got from the JRE.
Okay,
Oh,
okay.
I can't remember what I said. Did we say
Um,
bathtub foods?
we
Mark,
did.
Mark for sure said he.
The Doritos,
right?
mine was soup.
Was
Yours,
it?
Oh.
yeah, it was soup.
Oh
Was
yeah,
it?
because you actually are a soup girl.
I am a
But
soup
mine
girl.
definitely wasn't the bowl of oats.
Yeah.
No, it wasn't. What was
No.
yours?
I
I'll have to go back and
remember.
Well,
listen.
why don't you tell us now?
Tacos right now.
All right.
Oh,
Changes
yeah.
with the day, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, dude.
And I'm talking
All right.
like the crappy box you get from the store with like the
Ugh.
little taco
The kit?
seasoning.
Those
Yeah.
are awesome though.
Crunchy
Mm.
shells. Yeah.
Those are so good.
78 cents.
Yeah,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well.
Slice you up a head of romaine, 78 more cents.
Yeah.
So I guess I'm
Yeah.
gonna go with a bathtub of red skin Spanish peanuts mixed with Cheez-Its.
Okay.
Oh,
okay,
Wow. Okay.
Ah.
Cheeses I can't even have in my house
Fancy.
because I will
No,
literally
listen.
eat the entire
So,
box in the
listen
house.
here.
Oh,
So at
my
Aldi-
everything.
Aldi has a knockoff Cheez-It called
Uh-huh.
Savor It.
Oh. Yes, I will.
They nailed it. They
Yes,
nailed
yes, I will.
Yes. So we'll
Really?
buy like 7 boxes of these at a time. It's like $1.20 for a box.
Right.
So go spend $15 on these favorites, and they are perfect. They are exactly what a Cheez-It is.
Oh.
Because they're a little burnt. They're not burnt, but like that's what the Cheez-It difference is.
Well, the
Yeah.
thing is, and so
It's
you get
like slightly
other
overcooked
knockoff
cheese, but it's
Cheez-Its,
good.
They're a little bit overdone for most knockoff Cheez-Its I've encountered, like Great Value brand Cheez-Its. They're a little bit too burnt, or these are not. The
You
savory
guys.
from.
Are you hungry?
Just so with a little bit of Frank's hot sauce, just bloop, bloop, 2 little drops. Mm-hmm.
Have you had the hot and spicy Cheez-Its?
No. Wait.
Sure.
Tabasco Cheez-Its?
Yeah,
Tabasco?
Tabasco.
Then yes,
Yeah.
I have. Yeah,
Okay.
for sure,
Yeah.
for sure. I actually don't love Tabasco sauce.
I don't either.
It's not my favorite.
I love hot and spicy Cheez-Its though.
Spicy flavor. I'll have to give it a second try.
Trader Joe's has a hot sauce called Green Dragon sauce that is my absolute favorite.
TJ's.
I love it.
Okay.
Anyway, all right. So now that you're sufficiently hungry, this is the
Right?
Nerd Factor
Yeah, y'all.
from the Madison County Public Library in Richmond at Maria, Kentucky. I don't know what that was.
We hope we inspired you to eat good food
Cheez-Its.
or Cheez-Its or something.
Go farm.
Go
and then
farm.
Go get a box of Cheez-Its.
Right, exactly.
Yes.
Right. Do that.
Throw them Cheez-Its
Yeah,
and your marigolds.
Oh man,
green beans and Cheez-Its.
There you go.
I would say Cheez-Its pair pretty well with marigolds.
I bet
Yeah,
they
I
do.
have no, little Frank's hot sauce, maybe a little Nutella, you know.
Well, since we found ourselves on the topic of gardening, I do want to say a few more things real fast.
Yeah,
And,
man.
Okay.
Along with the marigolds, there is a because I try new things.
Marigolds.
Marigolds. I try and do organic gardening as much as I can. I don't like using pesticides and things of that nature, but there is one particular pesticide that I do prescribe to, and it's called Piola. It is a marigold extract.
Oh, how about that?
Yeah. So and it tastes very bitter, but it's not toxic to the bugs or to people. So it's fine to put onto your plants. But it's a spray, you can spray it on your beans, you can spray it on your tomatoes, and it keeps the bugs from eating the leaves, which is really the biggest problem that you run into with those kinds of crops is not bugs getting into the actual produce.
It's them eating the leaves,
but it's
yeah.
them preventing the photosynthesis from being able to do its whole thing. So Piola is a product that I do use. I spray it on everything. When it rains, it washes off. Water soluble, so you got to reapply. But it is amazing if you're having issues with June bugs or if you're having issues with bollworms.
Really?
Piola will solve this problem for you. It will. You've got to be persistent. Like I said, it does not linger. Good rain washes it right off, and then you're back at square one. But it will change it will triple your production.
Okay.
Okay. Cool.
Nice.
I have to get some for my
I was
marigolds.
gonna say.
Actually, I've already got marigolds.
Spraying
to
them
know,
on your
April.
marigolds would be moot.
I know. It would just kind of be like
overkill.
bit redundant there.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So, yep. So we've
We're
got to go.
research.
This is our episode. It's been all about food. Surprise.
Oh, yeah, no,
Sounds
right?
good to me.
So, all right. This is the Nerd Factor.
This is the food factor.
Food factor.
Food Factor.
Food's not a
with
factor
that.
for you.
All right.
Bye, y'all.
Okay, bye.
Love you, mean it.
Have a good day.
Have a
Have a
good
good
That
day.
should so be your thing. That's great.
Have a good day.
That should be your thing. You guys, I really got a book. I'm so sorry
You're
No
fine.
problem.
that I have to go so quickly. That
We
was
could talk
awesome.
about food for hours.
I mean, seriously.
Yeah. We can and have.
Okay, much love. I'll grab those Friday morning, Lucas.
Yeah,
Okay.
they'll be in Richmond waiting for
Thank
you.
you so much, guys.
I'm gonna go home and shower and go to work and play with my new toy.
What is your new toy?
It's my new MacBook.
Oh, nice.
And now Tech has my old MacBook to play with.
Fun.
Very nice.
Where my keys are? Oh, right here.
Alrighty.
See y'all in Richmond.
Yep.
I'll see you in Richmond.
Yep.
I'll see you in Richmond.
I'll be here today.
Okay. I won't see you in Richmond.
Yeah, that would be disappointing for me.
Alrighty. Then I will see you Thursday.
Yep, yep.